Welcome to A Girl, a Guy, and a Buffy podcast, Small Bites edition. I'm your co-host, Kate Balzer.
And I'm Charles Swint. So our small bites episodes are discussions we had in the main episode that didn't quite fit the overall conversation, but we still wanted to share with you all.
We hope you enjoy these tasty conversational bites. We promise, no angry puppy scars from listening.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So, Summers Woman?
Yes.
Like our favorite Summers
Women moments.
women moments? Yes.
It is kind of a tongue twister. Our favorite moments
Of the Summers
women.
women. Yes, that's a much better way to put it.
Yeah, it was kind of an awkward phrasing. Yes.
We knew
So you were
what we
having
meant.
thoughts.
I was having thoughts on it, and I had lots of thoughts, but then I was like, became curious about what other people thought. So I went to the internet, which now has become because whenever anything doesn't show up in any Google search, it always takes me to Reddit. Like
100%. Oh my God.
if
So
there's-
true.
if it doesn't show up, if it's not in Google and not in Google Scholar, it's on Reddit.
Yep.
I'm,
There is a thread to follow on Reddit.
yes. So I plugged that in and I was like, I'm just curious what other people thought. And of course, it took me to Reddit. And so many moments.
So was there love for the Summers women?
Oh, so yeah, mostly between the sisters for sure.
Yeah.
But yes, lots of love to give towards the Summers women. Do you have any that come to mind before I start diving in?
Okay, so it's so funny that you said that because when I was researching for the main episode, I message board and they were talking. I can't even remember now what the topic was, but one of the people mentioned a great moment between Buffy and Joyce, and I'd forgotten this, and I was like, yes. And we had actually talked about this in our prep meeting, but at the end of Innocence, when Buffy gets dropped off and Joyce brings her the cupcake with the candle, and they're just sitting there watching that, and basically Joyce can tell something's going on with Buffy, but she doesn't push it. She just sort of sits there with her, and they just kind of quietly, lean on each other on the couch, and it's just such a great moment. I think because we always see Joyce trying too hard, particularly in those early seasons, because she's trying to be like, I'm this now divorced mom in a new town. And, I'm sure she's feeling so much emotion because, her marriage failed, her daughter's struggling, she's trying to get a new business off the ground. So she just, overcompensates. But it's just this most simple, quiet, but she's given Buffy what she needs in that moment.
Which is just being present for her.
Exactly.
And sometimes that's just what you need is like, I just need you to be present and let me be sad or angry or whatever and rage out and,
I also like that Joyce asks, but like when Buffy doesn't really feel like answering, she just lets it be. Because I think that we also want that. Sometimes we want people to ask or to like read our mind, but we don't always want to talk about it.
Right. And and sometimes we're still processing. And I think for
Yeah.
Buffy, she's still processing because all of that stuff just finished.
Yes.
She
good
just
point.
wrapped that up like 10 minutes ago.
Well,
she was like, I gotta figure out what's going on here.
And it's more like the end of the beginning. Like her thing with Angelus is now just starting.
Right. What did this all mean?
Right.
And she says too, Joyce even says, and it's lovely that mother's intuition portion where she was like, oh, there's something different about you. And she's like, what? No, there's nothing different. But that moment that Joyce knows that she's changed, like that this is no longer her little girl. There's like, you're now carrying the weight of something on you that is no longer childlike.
Yeah, I think she gets a sense there's some innocence lost to play to the title of the of the episode. Yeah. Okay. How about you?
So I will say this isn't in the Reddit threads. I'll get into that later. But I think for me, one of my favorite moments, which involves all three
Hmm.
Summers ladies, is when Joyce is going out on her
Hmm.
date with Brian,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh," she's like, "Is this too much? Can I wear this?" And they're like, "Turn around. No, now turn the other way." And they're like, they just keep making her twirl around, and they're just messing with her, um, and
Yes.
teasing her because she's so excited to go on a date. And they're like,
Yeah.
"This is so cute." Or like the fact that they're like, "Our mom's excited to go on a date. We're excited for her to go on a date. She deserves
Yeah.
a moment of happy."
Right. With a
um,
nice
with a
guy.
nice guy who, as far as we know, is not a demon or a
Right.
robot or any like kind of
Yes.
crazy psychopath. Just seems like a nice, normal. Like they've grilled her on this too.
Right.
Like they were
Right.
like, "Are we checking the boxes here? Like everything, we're good, right?" Like,
He goes out in the sun.
right? He goes
He-
out during the daytime. He's
Yeah.
not in charge of an evil cult, right? Like he's not,
Right.
there's nothing weird going on.
It's a
And I just love that moment for all of them because
yeah.
it's the one time that you really get to see the three of them happy together.
Yeah.
There's no sister bickering, there's no tension of the Slayer world coming in. This is just
Hmm.
like a normal everyday moment.
Yeah.
And I love that. And we
It's
don't
a
get
great moment.
nearly enough of those.
So true. I love how when Joyce asks if her dress is too like conservative. I forget how she phrases it. And Dawn's like, "Oh, that's why I like it." And Buffy's like, "No, you look like a Randy sex kitten." Oh, wait, do I want my mom to look like a Randy sex kitten? Yeah, it's like it's
Yes.
a perfect moment because, like you said, you get to see them interacting, and it has the Buffy humor, and but it's also like super sweet.
Yeah, it's really nice. And it has nothing to do with slaying. It has
Yeah,
everything to do with just like, you know, your family hanging out and your mom's
right.
going out on a date for the first time.
Yeah,
After she's dated a robot and had sex with your watcher
right.
and had a brain tumor
Yeah,
and kidnapped by a psychopath and she's gone through a lot. So
yes,
just going out with Brian, it's really kind of nice.
right. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I also really like, even though it's very short and it's a flashback in the body, when Buffy flashes back to that most recent Christmas and everyone's there, we've never seen that before.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, I
this,
forgot about that.
I love the whole flashback because I was like, I love the idea of them, like Joyce bringing everyone into the home for, the found family Christmas, but particularly the moment in the kitchen, um, with Joyce, Giles, and Buffy and the pies, and she's like teasing them about their past,
Oh yeah.
and then yeah, just that whole moment is so great. Again, it shows them where how far they've come in
Hmm.
their relationship, both as mother and daughter, and then with Giles in the mix. It's so sad. It's during like, I mean, it's such a great moment during like one of the saddest episodes.
Yeah, and you get to see the sense of family. Like you finally
Yes,
get to see
yes,
them at like this is what it would look like if they were the family that we as an audience and
yeah,
perhaps even Buffy really wants them to be.
yes. It's also like that whole flashback scene is what this show would look like if it was just a normal teen show.
Hmm.
If there was no supernatural involved. I think which is where the show obviously excels at that it does that digging of that knife deeper,
Hmm. Right. It's
you
like,
know.
oh, you want this, but
Right.
we're giving you brain tumor, death, and
Correct.
destruction, which is why you
Correct.
love us so very
Yeah,
much.
exactly. You're the ones who keep coming back and watching.
Right. We're not making you do
Right.
this.
Apparently, Buffy fans are masochists.
Right. You want this torture.
Do you have another moment that you like?
I do. I've got one word for you, Kate.
Okay.
Umad.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is I totally blanked on that. Oh my God. I love the two of them in that episode.
Just the idea that, like, even in a forgetting spell, like
Hmm.
memories completely wiped, they were like, You are my sister because nobody can annoy me more
Right.
than that.
Oh, it's so
It's
great.
so cute. It's
It
so
is.
cute. Yeah, it's just it's a lovely moment.
It is.
God, you're annoying. Do you think we're
We, yeah,
sisters?
exactly.
That's the natural conclusion to that
Right.
conversation too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the other ones I love is the start of season 7 when the scene we see Buffy training Dawn and then she takes her out for like her first hunt and then they bond over the fact that they both like missed the first time. Or
Oh
did
yeah.
Dawn miss, right?
Dawn misses,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. And basically Dawn was all like making fun of her and she's like, after that, I was like kicking ass.
She was like, "Well, I had a whole plan for that, because I was gonna let him bite me and then I was
Right.
gonna come back and
Right.
get you," which is
That was
such a
such a
good
cute
sisters.
I know. It was such a sweet moment, especially coming out of the like hell that was season 6.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see. And again, going back to what we talked about in the main episode, that they were finally finding equilibrium in their relationship as sisters.
hmm Yeah. Um, so this one, I'm kind of reading through. I see a picture of it, and it's making me think of um two different moments. Uh, it's one is it's the first time that we kind of meet Dawn,
Hmm.
where she's like, "What are you doing in my room?" And they're like, and they both look at the camera and they're like, "Mom," like that kind of moment. But
Yeah.
then also it sort of springboard me to the point where, and I can't remember exactly what she says, where Dawn comes knocking on the door and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm having sex with my boyfriend." Like,
Yeah. That felt like very real.
like it felt so weird. It's like, leave me alone. Can I, like, where she's like, "Can I watch? Can I like hang out?" Like, it's just like, go away. Leave me alone. I'm trying
Yeah.
to spend quality time with my boyfriend. Why are you always around?
Yeah.
Um,
In that same season, I love when Buffy does the pull back the curtain spell and she's mean to Dawn because she doesn't think Dawn is, she thinks Dawn is a threat.
mhm.
And then she comes back after finding out the truth and goes to apologize to her. And they're sitting on the bed and talking about, Dawn's like, I'm the president of the We Hate Buffy fan club. And she's like, you can be the janitor or whatever
Yeah,
she
oh, like, yeah,
says.
yeah, yeah. I just pulled I just pulled that up. Where so it's in No Place Like Home,
Yeah.
and Dunn goes, "I tell you, I have this theory." It goes where you're the one who's not my sister because mom adopted you from a shoebox full of baby howler monkeys and never told you because it could hurt your delicate baby feelings. And Buffy says, "That's your theory?" And Dawn says, "Explains your fashion sense and your smell." Buffy, I'm sorry, okay? Dawn, broken record much? Buffy, you can't even take an apology. You always do that ever since. Long pause before Buffy realizes that all of her Dawn's memories are fake. I just had a bad day. Dawn, will join the club.
Oh yeah.
Buffy, can I be president? Dawn, I am president. You can be the janitor.
Yes. Bad club day. That's what it was. Yeah, it's because it's again, that's that switch moment where Buffy starts to really see her,
hmm
um, or accept that she's her sister.
and then she's got to keep that pretense up for,
Right. Right.
for her own sake.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I have two words for you.
Okay.
Okay, Joan.
Yeah. Martyr much, Buffy?
It's so fun. Like, Joan. Okay, Joan. All right, Uma. Like, again, it's fantastic.
Well,
It's
and I already said this one in the main episode, but it bears repeating. Again, I still love when Dawn comes back after being kidnapped by Xander
yes.
at the end of season 7 and just kicks Buffy in the shins. Ow!
Oh,
I'm telling if you die, I'm
if
telling
you die,
mom.
I'm telling mom. Which again, like the fact of bringing up Joyce again and all of that, like that moment of being like, we can talk about her. We can still have that. Um,
Hmm.
where it's not a
The pain's
hurtful
not as
thing.
fresh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a hurtful
We can
thing.
we can remember her in a funny, fun way.
Yeah.
I think based on what we're saying, we can talk about other favorite moments, but obviously the theme is when they really get to show themselves as family,
Hmm. Yeah.
are some of the great moments for the Summers women.
Oh, and speaking of family, the episode family, when Buffy
Yes.
stands up and they're like, if you want to get to Tara, you've got to come through her. And she's like, and me. And she goes, she's a hair puller.
Yes. Yes. That's a great moment.
Because they have had that fight before
Oh,
where they have
yeah.
where she has literally pulled her hair and had to. I just wonder what that would have like in her memories. I wonder
Yeah.
what that's like in her memories of Buffy's memories of Dawn, of them like having to grow up as sisters and the fights that you've had. I mean, I don't presume that all siblings get into physical altercations, but
I think
I think maybe sometimes they do.
I think most do at some point.
My brother and I roughhoused. He said in air quotes. Um, but like we got into it sometimes. Um, it wasn't like, you know, uh, yeah, we got into it sometimes. I'll just just leave it at that. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the same when siblings are like when it's like a brother and sister situation versus whether it's two sisters and two brothers. I don't know if that makes a difference in.
I'm sure it does. I mean, my brother and I did have some like physical altercations, but not all that much. I think most of the time I would tickle him. He's he's younger than me, 2 years younger than me. But yeah, and then he would used to say as we grew up that he couldn't take tickling because I tortured him through tickling. And I was like, you're so full of crap. I was like, it wasn't that bad. And then now, like, he is Mr. Tickle Monster to his kids. And I'm like, you're full of crap, Mr. Hypocritical.
I know.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
have
Oh,
another one, and I can't believe we didn't discuss this in the main episode. Just totally slipped my mind because it definitely relates in the who's the mother question. But when Dawn finds Buffy, talks her down, and then like takes her home to take care of her and like cleans
oh
her up. And in
yeah.
that moment, she's the adult in the relationship, or she's
Oh
the
yeah.
caretaker in the relationship. I think it's more about she has her caretaker back. And so she wants to help get her to that place. But
Hmm.
it is such a like touching moment and such a kind of dark moment.
Yeah. And it's sort of the opposite end of that spectrum is that moment when they're on the top of the tower in the first place,
Yeah.
and they have that moment where Buffy looks at the portal and it's
Hmm.
like, oh, this is what I have to do. And Dawn's
Yeah.
like a real and like Dawn's realization that that's
Yeah.
what's about to happen. And she was like, no, you can't. Like that moment between the two of them is so like it is heartbreaking because she was like, you cannot do this.
Hmm.
And like she's like, but I have to. It's my like it's such a big sister moment, but it also makes me want to lose my like I get a little upset about it.
A little clumped.
I'm a little verklempt because it is, I mean, it's rough. She's like,
It is.
you know, a thing for your sibling to do for you is to be like to basically jump in front of a bullet for you.
Yeah.
Um,
And she's really doing it because of being sister. She's not doing it in that moment as a slayer,
right.
you know?
Well, and I think I think it's a little column A, a little column B. It's
Yeah, true.
because we are made of the same blood. I can do this, and I want to do this for you.
Right.
It is my duty as my slayer, and I have also been told death is my gift. So
Yeah.
I get like this is fulfilling a prophecy.
Yeah.
Also, I love you, and you are my sister, and I get to protect you in this moment. So
Right.
I get to fulfill that promise that I, gave to mom as we were,
Hmm.
moving on. So like it's a very complex moment because she gets to fulfill so many things
Yeah.
at one time. She gets to be mother, sister, Slayer
Yeah, that's a good point.
all in the same moment.
All in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that feels like a really good place to end. Can't
Mother,
say it much.
sister, Slayer. She is Buffy.
Can't say it better than that.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Small Bites. Let us know your thoughts about the episode by leaving a review or rating us wherever you listen to your podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Buffy Podcast and email us at abuffypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.